The Monster of Canterlot, Chapter 40. I sat up in my bed and stretched. I haven't felt this refreshed in over a month, though I still felt very drained. It was an odd combination, to be sure. I looked around the room to see that Twilight and Cotton were still sleeping. That meant that Luna and Bunny were elsewhere. If I knew Bunny, she was probably cleaning the library or cooking breakfast for every pony else. Luna was most likely reading. I got up, got dressed, and proceeded downstairs. When I got down there, I found I was right on all three accounts. It's a rare mare indeed that can cook and clean at the same time. It astounded me that Bluebird had risked losing her over a simple night of pleasure. Luna, for her part, silently read while resting on a large cushion I've never seen before, and dodging the occasional flying book or duster with a simple nod of her head. "Good morning, every pony," I greeted in a voice low enough not to wake any pony else in the home. "Good morning, Chris," Bunny replied. "Good morning, nephew. Please, come closer and hold out your ring." I did as Luna instructed, though I didn't know why. As soon as I was close enough, she touched the tip of her horn to the ring. Her horn glowed for a moment, and I could feel a coolness traveling up my arm and filling my chest. "What are you doing?" Bunny asked. "My dear nephew, in his justifiable desperation, drained far more of his magic than he meant to. I am simply giving him a little more, so he will not be in any danger." Her magic stopped flowing into me, but I could still feel it in my core. "Thank you, Aunt Luna. I feel much better." I leaned over and kissed her forehead. "Bunny, what are you doing? I told you to go on vacation, not to transfer to a new workplace." Bunny sighed. "I know. I just can't help it, though. Besides, I feel like it's the least I could do for Twilight after she let us stay here." "Gotcha. So, what are you cooking anyway?" "Pancakes and hash browns. You hungry?" "Starving." "Understandable. Your magic is very low, so your body is trying to compensate for its loss. Remember this for future reference when you go to use your magic." "I will, Aunt Luna. It smells great, Bunny. I only wish you had some ham or bacon to go with it." "Two things. Gross and sorry, no. I love you and all, but I'm not about to fry up some defenseless creature because you think they're tasty. They're not tasty. They're awesomely delicious. Stop that or you won't get anything." "My apologies, Your Highness. I meant no offense," I teased with a deep bow and a fake Trottingham accent. This led to enough giggles to wake Cottontail. She, in turn, made enough of a racket to wake Twilight. Twilight, using her normal level of tact, woke Spike. The three of them came down the stairs together, the two young ones riding on Twilight's back. That, of course, led to breakfast time. After that, I went to see Fluttershy, though I wasn't going to get much training done with my magic solo. As we all know, a Pegasus needs not only wings to fly, but also magic to get them airborne and keep them there. If it weren't for their magic, their wings would need to be 3 times their size and their bones mostly hollow, just like birds and griffins. Either way, I felt it was good manners to let her know in person. "Oh my, you really can't fly?" "No, not for a full day at least. Heck, if it weren't for Aunt Luna, I wouldn't have enough energy to hold my wings up." "Oh dear, this isn't good." "Well, it's not so bad. It'll just put us back a day." "But I have to prepare for the breezy migration. I had planned on being done with your training in time for them to come through town. Then I have training with Rainbow Dash and Bulk Biceps." "Right, for the Equestria Games. Both are very, very important, and I understand completely how stressed that would make any pony. How about this? I take care of your animals for you today, while you focus on your preparations. That way you won't get behind, and I won't feel useless." Fluttershy giggled. "While I would disagree with you on being useless, I could use the help." "Awesome! Where do I start?" Fluttershy giggled again. "I'll show you." After feeding the chickens, otters, birds, bunnies, squirrels, and mice, I took a little break. I sat underneath a tree to the little stream in front of the college and watched the critters play around in the water. During my rest, I heard scratches on the bark of the tree, followed by the feeling of a small creature jumping onto my shoulder. I looked to see what it was and found a tiny flying squirrel sitting there. "Oh, hey there, little fella." I raised an open hand for the small creature to climb onto, and then held it out in front of me. "You're a cute little thing, aren't you? What you doing out here all by your lonesome?" Fluttershy trotted over to me. "I thought you might enjoy some iced tea, Chris, and I see you made a new friend." "Yeah, this little guy just crawled on my shoulder a moment ago. Do you know him?" "Yes, I do. His nest was born out of the tree in a storm when he was still very young, and I found him. He could use a home if you're interested." How about it, little buddy? You want to come home with me? My question was answered by the flying squirrel running up my chest and perching on top of my head. I guess that's a yes. Fluttershy giggled again. I still love that sound. What are you going to name him? For some reason, the only name I can think of is Rocky. Do you like that name? Rocky started chittering excitedly and bouncing up and down. Alright, Rocky it is then. I stood up and took a long draw from my glass of tea. Okay then, time to clean some cages. I then realized what I just said. It's time to clean cages. Don't worry about that. Thanks to you, I managed to get almost all my preparations for the breezes done. Why don't you go and get some rest, build your magic back up, and get to know Rocky a little better? Sounds like a good plan to me. What do you think, Rocky? He cheered away with a tiny little smile on his face. I guess that's a yes. Okay then, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, Fluttershy. Have fun, you two. She waved goodbye as I walked away with my new friend. Alright, see you tomorrow. I waved and Rocky squeaked and gave a tiny wave of his own. I decided to see what Applejack was up to, since I was so close anyway. As I walked down the road, Rocky scurried all over me, making me laugh at his antics. I was really going to like having this little guy as my pet, although I didn't know if that was the right word for it. Rocky was smart, especially for a squirrel. Maybe friend was more suited, or companion at the very least. Soon, I was walking between huge apple trees that seemed I was nearing the apple homestead. The large farmhouse was coming into view over the tops of the trees. It always reminded me of Earth, since there were orchards very similar to it in my picture books growing up. Unfortunately, my fond memories and playtime with my new friend were interrupted. Honey, look! It's the monster! I froze in place as the word bounced around inside my mind. My hands slowly lowered to my sides and clenched into fists. Rocky could tell something was wrong, jumped off my shoulder and hid in the nearest tree. I could feel myself shaking as my vision started to darken. You're right, dear. I do believe that's the so-called Monster of Canterlot, Prince Christopher. Instantly, my vision cleared and my nerves settled. I then clearly saw two earth ponies, one male and one female. Both were pale orange in the coat, but the male had a green mane and the female had an orange mane. I could also tell they were not from around here. Aunt Orange! Uncle Orange! I heard Applejack call out. She rounded the door of the barn and spotted the alleged oranges and myself. Chris, what brings you out here? She asked as she trotted over. And what happened to your hands? They're bleeding. I raised my hands in front of my face as Applejack trotted closer. I had to force my fingers open. In the palm of each hand, I found 4 small crescents cut into the skin. There was blood under my nails, leaving very little question as to what happened. I think I cut my hands while helping Fluttershy earlier. Well, you march inside right now, mister, and I'll clean you up a bit. Aunt Orange and Uncle Orange, head on in and help yourselves some cider while I deal with Chris here. All right, Applejack dear, Aunt Orange said as she and her husband walked inside the house. I can't believe our niece knows so many royals, I heard her whisper. Alicorn hearing is pretty cool. Are you still standing there? Get! I smirked and walked inside the farmhouse as ordered. Once inside, I went into the kitchen and sat down. Applejack was right behind me and went straight for the sink, where she wet a cloth and came back to me. Now, how'd you really hurt your hands? I told you. I hurt them helping Fluttershy. Applejack looked me dead in the eyes with a single eyebrow raised. I had apparently forgotten who I was talking to. Fine, Miss Element of Honesty. I clenched my fists a little too tight. Why, what made you mad enough to do this? She asked as she gently cleaned the blood off my hands. Honestly, your relatives in there. Applejack froze while wrapping my hand in gauze and gazed up at me with shock plastered across her face. I know now that they didn't mean anything by it, but when they first spotted me, I heard your aunt call me the monster. Applejack gasped and held her hoof to her mouth. Oh, sugar cube! It's alright. It's what the newspapers called me before I was revealed to the world. Then, why were you so mad? I don't really know. Ever since the whole changeling incident, I've been angry. Heck, I challenged a bear the other day because he was in my way. Applejack, I'm starting to worry I might hurt some pony. Applejack leapt up and wrapped me in a hug. Oh, sweetie, I can't imagine how hard this must all be on you. She released the hug. I saw how much it hurt you when you... But you were asleep and that wasn't your fault. You have to remember, none of this is your fault. No matter what, you have friends who can help. I will. Thank you, AJ. I really... Oh, shoot! Forgot about Rocky! 10 minutes later, myself, 3 ponies, and a cute little sheepdog were all standing around an apple tree with a little flying squirrel looking down at us from the branches. The dog, Winona, was sent to the barn to find Big Macintosh, leaving me and the ponies to try to coax him down. The reason Winona was sent off was so that Rocky wouldn't have anything to be afraid of. Come on, Rocky, we need to go. I have lessons and you need to meet your Auntie Twilight. I held a bandaged hand out for Rocky to climb onto. Instead, he leapt into the air and glided down on my head and scurried onto my shoulder. I chuckled at his antics. Aw, he's adorable, Mrs. Orange said. Wherever did you find him? Our friend, Fluttershy, rescued him a while back, and I met him today. The old guy needed a home, and I've always wanted a pet, so everything worked out. I looked up at the sun and judged the time. I needed to go. I turned to the oranges and knelt down so as to be on their level. I held out a hand to Mrs. Orange and gave it a gentle shake, then repeated the process more firmly for her husband. Mr. and Mrs. Orange, I fear I have taken up too much of your valuable family time. I must go. Oh, well, if you have to go, then you have to go, Mr. Orange responded. It's too bad we couldn't visit longer. I agree. Next time you're in Canterlot, please stop by the palace. The palace? Mrs. Orange was taken aback. Is that allowed? I smirked as I stood up. It's fine. I know the mayor who owns the place. And where have you been? Twilight inquires as I ducked through the door. Spike was enjoying the help that Bunny was offering with the cleaning. Twilight was studying, as usual. Luna was reading and smiling while she was playing with Cottontail, making a teddy bear dance around with her magic. Seeing Luna have so much fun with the little filly always made me wonder why she didn't want foals of her own. Sorry, Mom, I snarked. I was at Fluttershy's where I picked up this little guy. I held my arm straight out, and Rocky ran to my open palm and gave a little wave. Then I stopped by AJ's place and met her aunt and Uncle Orange. Nice folks. With the exception of Luna, all the other mares cantered over to coo at the squirrel in my open hand. Luna, instead, noticed the bandages. Thankfully, Rocky had already leapt over to Bunny's head, because Luna hauled me over to her by my hands. Nephew, you are injured! Oh dear, are you all right, darling? Rarity asked as she trotted out of the kitchen, holding a teapot and a tea set aloft in her magic. I'm fine, everybody. It's not that bad. Luna peeled back the gauze and prepared a healing spell. She froze when she realized what had caused the injury. She then continued her task and healed my palms. When she was done, she said, There, good as new. She then looked directly into my eyes with a knowing look. Thank you, Aunt Luna. I kissed her on the cheek to further show my gratitude. You are welcome, Christopher. And not that I'm complaining, but why are you still here instead of back in Canterlot? I simply wish to ensure that you got another good night's sleep. Also, I wish to ensure you didn't spell too much magic again. I don't know whether to be flattered or insulted. I grinned at my precocious aunt. Alright, Twilight, what's the plan for today? Oh, right. Well, since your magic is weak right now, I thought we could go over fine-point telekinetic manipulations. I looked to Rarity, since whatever Twilight had said would have something to do with her being here. Huh? Think of it as an advanced motor skills, dear, Rarity told me without even taking her eyes off her teacup. Ah, why didn't you just say that? I did say that. Twilight took a deep breath before she continued. That is why I asked Rarity to come over. She's an expert at this type of magic. She does it every day in her boutique. There's no pony better. I could tell Rarity wanted to act a little smug, but her decorum wouldn't allow it. Very well, Miss Rarity. I am but clay in your very skilled hooves. Mold me. And that was the day I got a pet of my very own.